Welcome back. This session we would be going ahead with the perspective we started building in the preceding session, wherein we were focusing, if you remember, on the unmet and the unknown needs, identification of those needs. And remember, we talked about Volvo and the example of Professor Alexander, who focused upon trampoline. So, those kind of things, and I was somehow correlating everything in terms of innovations in marketing with respect to longevity of life, and Dan Buettner is the protagonist. And then you see, his researches are pivotal. He has gone for n number of years of researches, probably 3 decades or so, to generate such kind of a model, to implement that kind of a model, to study that model happening in different countries and so on, and that is why this can be looked upon with a composite kind of a perspective. So, now here we go to the next element, wherein as far as the same sphere goes, this graduating from the first stage, we go towards understanding the deep seated drivers of perceptions and behavior that are relevant to a product's appeal. And remember the chart I showed you last time, wherein 3 spheres we were addressing. So, this is the second stage of the first sphere, wherein a comprehensive analysis of marketing trends unveils the cultural, social and psychological factors that must be taken into account when developing and communicating about an innovative product. And one of the most important elements are cultural and social. I am not saying psychological factors are not so important, but cultural and social elements are very important. How culturally we are ready for this. Do we have to bring in some cultural changes for that? 3 decades back or 2 decades back, the fast food was not so rampant. So, there was a different kind of a perspective around food and the nutrition value of the food. Although I would not say that all of us we were eating very healthy food, all of us we were eating samosas and those kind of things which are not so healthy. But then only South Indian food and especially dosas, those kind of things were introduced in the northern parts of the country, and idli and those kind of things, they became a healthy alternative to different kinds of things. But today if you look into the situation, we have adopted everything which was introduced to us in terms of food. That means somehow it was an unmet need, unknown need, which was brought into play by the marketers, although it is not so good for the health of people. Now, can we go back to the basics and adopt healthy food, or would it be, would we be highly resistant to that? I saw some of my friends eating kind of packaged food few minutes back, and I realized that somehow, and one of my friends was complaining about that this is acidic also, but somehow despite of the complaint, we were all happy about that food. So fundamentally we know about the details, but then also we are strongly into the adaptation of those kind of things. Can we go to the basics? But the point is that who is going to provide us the basics, and that is, or basics, or let us say healthy food. So, who is going to do that, and that is what marketers should be looking into. You see, ultimately profits would come, because we have been talking about one thing which is very important, and we must remember that innovations in marketing and marketing of innovations have one large purpose: market development. Once the market gets developed, then it would grow by itself, or it would grow at large with the help of, as far as the understanding of marketing goes. So, cultural, social and psychological factors are very important for, as far as putting up a perspective around the understanding of deep seated drivers of perceptions and behaviors that are relevant to a product's appeal. What perception the consumer carries and would carry, and the behavior would come from that side when we are talking about this thing. For example, the adoption of virtual reality has been slower than technologists expected it to be for many reasons, not the least of which is the design of existing headsets, or the adoption of Crocs, the footwear, have been much faster as compared to it was expected. So, did Crocs do something very right, which the producers or manufacturers of what VR sets did not do, in terms of looking into the deep seated drivers of perceptions and behavior? Were they too much drawn into the technological advancement of VR set and they realized that anyways people would love to adopt it somehow? Were they looking, were they actually feeling that you just do not have to introduce this product has all the potential of being adapted somehow? So, what was it? And that is what we have to look into when we are talking of such kind of products. Crocs was not so sure that people would be adopting their product, so they went into deeper market research and positioning of the product with that kind of marketing of innovation perspective, which we are trying to build up here, and we will keep on building in due course of time. A very interesting example from Dabur, Dabur's real fruit juice. Again, fruit juices, packaged fruit juice, definitely as compared to fresh fruit juice, it was a stark comparison. And definitely packaging takes it a step differently, as far as I am not a nutrition expert who can comment on the nutrition value or something basically, but it is a general consumer perception from my side as a consumer, and it is as good as you. But you may check it and you may talk to nutrition experts and you may talk to doctors and you may talk to how fresh fruit juice or packaged fruit juice are different as compared to total value goes, even if the ingredients are similar or whatsoever. But then the fact of life is that Dabur was struggling with that. So, they focused upon changing the perception. And how did they do that? So, Dabur's Real Juice is well known Indian brand, we all know that offers a variety of fruit juices. While it has gained popularity over the years, it did face challenges related to initial taste perception when it first entered the market. So, first response was on the taste element. Definitely the fresh juice has a different kind of a taste and the packaged juice definitely had to have a different kind of a taste. When Dabur introduced real juice in the Indian market, consumers were accustomed to homemade or freshly squeezed juices, which had a distinct taste that differed from packaged juices. The initial taste of real juice did not always align with the flavor and the texture of the homemade juices that people were familiar with. And you see, at the same time there were many innovators who were focusing upon the juicers and grinders and those kind of things, especially juicers. So, every household was trying to purchase or being motivated by the marketers to adopt that innovation. Juicer was an innovation at one part of time. So, there are hand kind of operated juicers, there are electric juicers, and people were looking into juicers, electric operated juicers. Those were not so low priced, I would say, moderately higher side or let us say middle side pricing for average Indian middle income group household. But then the nutrition value of the fruit juice was definitely established, and especially for young children and elders and let us say expecting mothers or whosoever, and people wanted that they should have juicers in their home so that they can consume juice. Same time Real was also focusing upon, as far as their innovation goes, packaged juice. So, they were having a different kind of a substitution element in terms of fresh grinded juice at fresh drawn juice at the household level, as well as Real being purchased from the market, which slightly would be on the higher side if we look into the total price element, because those days fruits were not so expensive. Today fruit prices have gone comparatively very high as compared to as far as those days. So, and this is about a decade or something of that sort, decade back or so. So, what you see this kind of a scenario is there. So, you are introducing a new product and a substitution is already being built up and something is backing up that substitution as far as the whole scenario goes. Because before that people were used to struggle with hand squeezed kind of juices with as far as fruits go. So, and an apple was a difficult kind of a thing when you have to draw juice, apple juice. So, Dabur's real, so Dabur's case, some consumers found that the initial versions of real juice to be too sweet or lacking the natural sweetness of freshly squeezed fruit juices. Commercial juices often add sugar or artificial sweeteners to enhance flavor and extend shelf life, and they have a different kind of a processing procedure. You may check it on the relevant sources and websites. I am not the expert who could comment on how do they produce that, but definitely they have a procedure. To address these challenges and improve taste perception, Dabur Real Juice took several steps over time. They would have been wondering on how to enhance the sales. So Dabur launched marketing campaigns emphasizing the use of real fruits. That is one part. So that people should not have a dilemma of that, these are not so fresh when they are processed, and the absence of artificial flavors and colors in real juice. They reduced that, or they eliminated those kind of ingredients, and they emphasized upon that, so that it can be taken as its name, real. This helped build trust and perception amongst consumers. The brand also shifted its positioning to emphasize the health benefits of consuming real fruit juice, focusing on the natural vitamins and nutrients found in the fruits. The end result, the usage, which was emphasized by this brand. Over time, these efforts helped Dabur Real Juice overcome the initial taste perception challenges, and establish itself as a trusted brand in Indian market. Rest is history, they did well. They are doing well. Consumer education, product improvement and a wide variety of flavors played pivotal roles in building acceptance and loyalty amongst customers. Do we still have juicers in homes? I have noticed a trend that people do have juicers, because the processing machine is a composite machine now, which Indian average household purchases, but juicers are commonly used. That slightly is a question mark. If somehow someone needs that because doctor has prescribed for that, then people focus upon that, but freshly made juices, I am not sure what is the exact statistics, but my observation says that somehow it did not grow as it had to. The fruit prices might have played a role. The marketing efforts which the innovation, marketing of innovation from the side of the juicer manufacturers was required, was not as good as Dabur's packaged juice goes, and somehow this thing grew as compared to that thing. I am not saying which is right or wrong, but marketing of innovation was from the side of Dabur is more successful as compared to the marketing of innovation in terms of juicer manufacturers. So here is that we are talking about, focusing upon unmet and unknown needs, we are talking about understanding the deep seated drivers of perceptions and behavior that are relevant to products appeal. The other element is engage with customers through use cases and benefits instead of functionalities and features. That is what Dabur did. That is what others are doing. That is what we are talking about precisely. So when an innovation is genuinely breakthrough, it becomes essential to provide education on its usage and its underlying purpose, especially for mainstream customers. So products which have not been doing so well might not have done this, and that is precisely the point for us to understand. And for generating a larger component of understanding, I would strongly recommend for you to enumerate those products which could have done slightly more better, and try to think that what was their communication all about, what were they communicating about. Were they communicating about the use cases and benefits rather than functionalities, and still were not doing well? Then there might have been some different reason for that. But if they were actually communicating about functionalities rather than use cases and benefits, then definitely this could have been thought of in terms of their communications. So you see, these customers are motivated less by functionalities, as the author says, and the author whom we are referring to is John D.L. Why Great Innovation Needs Great Marketing, Harvard Business Review 2019. So these customers are motivated less by functionalities of a product and more by how the product assists them in achieving their goals. Marketing helps companies address this through customer research. We will be talking about this completely separately in terms of research on marketing of innovations, insight development. And insight I would have referred to with different kinds of connotations, wherein 5 C's of insights, coincidences and those kind of things. So, I would request you to refer to those sessions, and for detailed sessions you may refer to my subject on product and brand management, where I have discussed this thing in much detail, how to build insight amongst yourself and then amongst your respondents, insight development. And Stephen Klein is one of the most important authors who has contributed in this kind of a thing through a modular logic. So, his book Seeing What Others Don't is a very important contribution in this direction. Contradictions, coincidences, correlations and those kind of things have been discussed. So, third is positioning, work and communications framing. So, customer research, insight development, positioning, work and communications framing. And now look at this, Dyson. It's, you know, this organization, its its efforts are growing as far as developing the market goes in Indian context, especially in urban areas. They have sort of created a space for themselves. Statistics may be there to support with what I'm saying, and there is a huge potential as far as this organization's products go. Looking at an average household pricing perception about such kind of products, so probably slightly on different levels. Probably they are targeting mostly the nuclear families in extremely urban areas. That is how they would be looking at. But Dyson is doing good, and Dyson has done good in due course of time. So, the marketing for Dyson vacuum cleaners places a strong emphasis on the advantages of exceptional cleaning performance, and that is true. If you look at the demonstration, it is a good product, cutting edge technology and usability. Instead of going into technical specifics, they highlight how their vacuum cleaners help people clean faster and more effectively. Sometimes when I am talking about these kind of products, I reminiscence of dishwashers, for example. Dishwashers did good, but not so good. Instead, washing machines did extremely good. Or there are several other such kind of products which could have done much better as compared to what they have been doing. Although Dan Buettner advises us to do most of the things by our own hands, because that gives us a spontaneous slow exercise all through. So, he advises that we should be doing everything by our own hands, washing clothes or whatsoever. Earlier people used to do that. So, then comes in, after engaging the customers with through use cases and benefits instead of functionalities and features, the other element is develop the entire customer experience ecosystem. Now, this is very important. When we are talking of developing customer ecosystem, entire ecosystem, what does that mean? That means that this is not the only element of product customer relationship only. That is also associated with several other things which customer is doing in terms of habits. That is also related to the overall integrated system which a customer is going through. For example, if somehow customer is focused upon using washing machines now and then the detergent manufacturers or producers, they started going for different variants in terms of liquid or gel soaps, gel detergents, or let us say washing machine based detergents. Top loading washing machine detergent is different, and front loading washing machine detergent is different, and they have communicated that so well that people have precisely started purchasing those things according to their washing machines now. So, you see, ecosystem has several elements. This is just an example. For example, if you look into your kitchen basically, and you would realize that what are the things which are around us and how are we doing things here. So, that creates the perspective around customer experience ecosystem. This is just an example, and we will try to build up the situation around, and you will appreciate that. So, innovators often get so absorbed in what they are creating, product focused kind of a thing, that they tend to neglect all the other essential aspects. It happens, you see, when you are drawn into that situation, basically you have a good product in your hands and you doubt that people would not accept this so readily, then somehow basically you just are focused on that particular kind of a product. For example, if you are developing a health supplement, and there are so many health supplements which have been developed for brain nourishment, and they were good actually. So, you were so drawn into the acceptance of people upon that kind of the value that health supplement would give, that you do not look into what kind of nutritional habits people do carry, why would they consume this health supplement, when would they consume this health supplement, how would you justify this in front of people that through longitudinal perspective this health supplement would be much contributive in terms of as far as your long term memory goes or long term health goes and so on. And that is why I have seen such kind of memory enhancing or health enhancing supplements not doing so good, because they were not focusing upon the ecosystem, they were focusing upon the just the relevance of the product. And you see, that is why as the author says, that they tend to neglect the other essential aspects required for successful delivery and user experience of the offering. So, successful delivery and experience might be related to developing a value chain perspective, a packaging perspective, an ecosystem perspective and customer habit perspective all together. And since the beginning we are talking about market development and value networks and value webs in terms of as far as marketing of innovations go and innovations in marketing go. So, when Amazon later launched its Kindle device, it offered an integrated experience of hardware, software, service and content that made it seamless for the customers to buy and use it, thus producing a successful launch. If it would have been just a book downloading kind of a device and not with so many features, that wouldn't be so apt for as far as Amazon goes. But then Amazon focused upon how you can look at similar content from two different sources at the same time, then you can actually collate that content and bring it to you basically, and so on. Several other kinds of features they added to as far as this good product goes. And you see, here is a comparison just to emphasize upon these kind of things when we are talking of developing entire customer experience ecosystem. There was a product by Sony also, e-reader. So, the Sony reader, the first e-reader to be developed, was a technologically advanced product, good product. However, it could not do well in the market, reason being it did not enlist the book publishing industry as a partner to provide the content to the hardware required. So, they realized that somehow people would use it and they would buy the software differently or content differently and so on, and then it would collate this and so on. The device is good. Sony missed the opportunity to leverage the customer centric approach inherent in the marketing and especially marketing of innovations. And here comes the difference between marketing, which is product, price, place, promotion, targeting, positioning, and largely marketing is much beyond that, and definitional frames also talk about this, but then in a concise manner if you want to refer to it. So, marketing and marketing of innovation to guarantee that the ecosystem surrounding its product matched the same level of development and design at the product itself, which Kindle did differently. So, here in contrast, when Amazon introduced its Kindle device later on, it provided a seamlessly integrated experience encompassing hardware, software, services and content, and I told you this. This approach made it effortless for customers to purchase and use the Kindle, resulting in a successful launch, and you see, it was just flowing. And the most important element of when we talk about as far as this whole situation goes is that when you think in terms of ecosystem, it keeps on flowing and it develops itself, and it actually integrates the things around you. The your habits, they also get integrated in terms of the complete usage goes as far as the situation goes. So, then comes in use a go to market strategy appropriate for innovation and its customers. Go to market, reach to the hearts of the customer, focus upon the complete system they are going through, starting from how they live and how they wish to live. Marketers should know the importance of attending to all the 4 P's: price, place, promotion, in addition to the product, along with the complete value web and value network which is associated with as far as this particular product goes, and that we have talked about at length. You see, innovation alone may be enough to initiate the adoption life cycle. People start looking forward to that product. But marketing remains the bridge necessary to cross the chasms between early adopters, or chasm between the early adopters to the wider group of people who will form a viable, valuable customer base, so much so that either this product eliminates several kinds of substitutes and alternatives, or it becomes an alternative to several products. The bigger the innovation, the bigger the risk of the failure it does, basically, because then you see you have so much to invest into. Because marketing can reduce those risks, it matters as much as innovation, perhaps even more. And that is why why great innovation needs great marketing, because fundamentally this cannot be seen separately as far as the whole situation goes. Now, interestingly, my team has put up some examples in front of you, wherein they say that evaluate these innovations using the framework we have just discussed, and I will just recall the framework to you as far as the whole situation goes very quickly: creation of innovation, communication of innovation, and delivery of innovation. So, looking at this framework, just look into these examples wherein these logos are self-explanatory. This is Mitti Cool refrigerator in front of you here. This Pran Vayu is the ventilator system which was developed by IIT Roorkee during Corona days. Then rest of all, they are self-explanatory examples. So, evaluate these innovations using the framework we have just discussed and write back to us whether their success or failure is attributed to their marketing efforts or no. Just look into that framework, focus upon what these organizations did or did not do or could have done in terms of marketing their innovation. If you find those flaws or if you find those qualities, enumerate those, enlist those, and try to bring in more examples in those categories, both the categories. Suggest us those examples as well, justify those examples, send those examples to us. Probably we would be using those in our different sessions as well, with your acknowledgement. Definitely we would be acknowledging your name as well. And on the other side, this would strengthen your understanding on marketing of innovations. I would be coming back to you with a lot of insights on that. How should we be looking at innovations, new products, new services, or something else? I would be catching up back with you. Till then, goodbye.